Hey everybody, Josh from Populi here. Welcome, greetings. Ascend with us into the deep mystery of payment plans. And if you think that we're just jamming a lot of information about payment plan settings into a single video and pretending that it's secret advanced information, you're absolutely right. This video assumes that you've seen the Simple Payment Plans Made Simple video, or that you're generally familiar with how payment plans work in Populi. If you haven't already seen that video or need a refresher on the basics, you'll find it linked in the description below. We're going to dig into the settings on payment plans that we breezed over in that video. Let's talk roles. You'll be able to create payment plans if you have the financial admin role, and you'll be able to add payment plans to students with either the student billing or financial admin role. One way that we're going to expand into that advanced territory is we'll deal with the different levels at which payment plans can govern student invoices. Let's go have a look at a student's profile and we'll see how this works. On the profile, we can go to Financial, and then we'll land on the dashboard. For simple payment plans, we focused on applying payment plans at the invoice level, but payment plans can be applied at the level of the term and then also at the level of the student. Let's look at applying term payment plans by going to By Term here, checking our term, making sure that's where we want to apply this payment plan, and then going down to Add a Payment Plan down here. Every invoiced charge pointed at this term will be included on this payment plan. Let's click out to the dashboard, and then over here on the right, we can add a payment plan there as well. That is a student level payment plan. All the charges, all the invoices on all terms that fit the settings on the payment plan and that aren't covered by another payment plan will show up here and get fitted into this one. Let's get a look at a payment plan so that we can see the settings that we're going to describe here. Let's go to Financial at the very top, and then Billing, and then Settings here. And then we'll click into Payment Plans and choose Add a Payment Plan. We're going to give it a name. Since this is advanced, I'm going to call this Cyber Plan 3000, and that's plan with 2 N's. On payment plan fee here, if you haven't already created a fee, you'll need to do that. And while you're doing that, you might as well create a late payment fee as well if you're going to use the late payment option there. Once you choose a fee, you'll be able to choose whether it will be a flat fee, so that would just be like 25 bucks, or a percent of charges based on the plan, so 1% or whatever that would be, and then that'll be calculated when the plan actually gets applied. Late payment fee works pretty similarly. We're going to choose that one there, and then we can choose to either do percent of charges on the plan or a flat fee as well. And then for the percent of charges, we can choose to make that a maximum, so maybe we only want to charge up to 100 bucks there, and that would be triggered whenever a student misses one of those payment due dates. So if a student hasn't paid by one of the due dates generated by this plan, they'll be walloped with a fee. The grace period setting is there so that if you want to enforce a late fee, we'll want to have a little bit of flex time between the due date and then when the fee is actually charged. You can set that up. That way, folks get to see that it's late, and then they have a chance to do something about it. This is a setting for kind people. Minimum amount. Let's say that you have a payment plan operating at the term level and it's grabbing invoices that are created within that term as it should. But let's say someone gets a $20 parking ticket and that goes on their term and you don't want it absorbed into the overall payment plan. You can set a minimum amount here. We'll say $100, and then any invoice under that amount won't end up on the payment plan. And I mean invoices here, not charges. So the entire invoice amount would have to fall below that $100 threshold. Let's go down to financial aid. If you have students receiving financial aid that will be dispersed in the future, meaning that it's scheduled and pending on their profile, and you want to reflect payments due that take those eventual aid amounts into account, then make sure this is checked. If they have $2,000 in scheduled aid and their tuition for the term is $10,000, this lets you show them payments based on the $8,000 that they'll actually end up having to pay. Rounding, prefer whole amounts down here. That just means that whenever possible, the individual payments will round to the nearest dollar. Now, online, this is where things get interesting. We go into this at much greater depth in another video about payment plans that students can use to create recurring payments. You'll find that in the description below. The basic idea is that you can set plans up to work at the student or term level, and then students can choose to align their recurring payments with the plan. The last option there means that you set a plan so that students aren't able to just apply it willy-nilly. They can only conform their recurring payments to it if the plan has already been added by the finance or billing team to them at the student or term level. Auto remove, this just removes the plan once it's paid off or once you hit a certain date. Eligible charges down here, this is where you can choose to let this payment plan include or exclude various types of charges. So if you want this plan to work for your undergraduate tuition schedule, but not to pull in charges on the graduate tuition schedule, you can manage that here. You can choose to completely cut out one of these categories. Let's say down here for bookstore, you want to set that to none. No bookstore charges would be included on this payment plan. And then aside from that, it works either inclusively or exclusively. So you can choose the tuition schedules that you want to be included, or you can say all except a given tuition schedule should be included here. And that's the same down the line for these various other fee charge categories. There's not much else to dig into down here under payment schedule, except that with all of these categories, except recurring fixed amount payments, you can break these out by charge type. So each payment can have its own charge type. You could put that in terms of a flat amount or a percentage of the total charges, and you could do wild stuff like say tuition for that first payment. You have to pay 10% of tuition, 20% of your fee, 30% of a room plan or a meal plan. That's just for the first payment there. And we could also include bookstore as a category down there if we want to. I should also point out that if you want to use a schedule based around number of days into term, that then you won't be able to make that work for student level charges up here under online. Obviously, it can't work at the student level because it's based around term dates. That just makes sense. And it just makes sense to click like on the video, subscribe, and ring that notifications bell if you haven't already. We have more resources about payment plans, including other videos, down in the description, and you'll find our social media links down there as well. I've been Josh for Populi. You've been great. Thanks for watching.